is you have them write down the problem, and then they have to come up with 2 solutions to that problem. And by the way, there's over an 80% chance that their solution is the answer because they're right in the middle of that problem. They have other circumstances relative to that problem that you may not even be thinking about or be aware of. So I can't tell you how many times this really empowers the staff, and it helps to create a lot of solutions, but it helps to eliminate a lot of problems. In other words, they're not allowed to just interrupt me. Staff members need to know that they cannot just interrupt me because I have to do a job. I'm trying to see patients. So I can't just be stopped at every whim. And they write it down on the yellow legal pad. And then when they write it down, they're supposed to give 2 solutions. Well, at every staff meeting, you're going to cover, like in topic 10 here, office or personal issues, you're going to cover the legal issues, or not the legal pad solutions. And this is when they give you all the different problems that they've ran across through in the week, and they give you the solutions. In other words, you never want somebody just dumping problems on you. If you allow staff, and by the way, it's the same with staff. If one staff member allows another staff member to dump problems on them, it's the same thing. They don't like it. So to prevent, and by the way, it'll keep going. They'll keep dumping problems on you as long as you keep letting them do it. That's just human nature. So how to prevent this from happening is the legal pad solution, where they're required to, number one, not just get up and interrupt you. They come up with a solution. And then at the staff meeting, they bring up everything they've written down that week. Now, some amazing things happen. This little technique, some amazing thing happens. Let me share with you some amazing things that happen. Number one is when you introduce the system, they won't go by it. They'll still interrupt you. And here's what will happen. If you let them interrupt you and you answer it, it won't even be a system anymore. It's like you said nothing. So when you implement this rule, they're still going to interrupt you. And what you have to now remember to say is, wait a minute, is that an emergency? And by the way, this is exactly what I said to my staff when they did. Is that an emergency? No. Well, what is the system when it's a non-emergency and you have a question? Is it to interrupt me and stop me from doing what I'm doing? Is that the system? No, it's to write it down. So in other words, just because you put it in doesn't mean they're going to follow it. In other words, you're going to have to catch them 2 or 3 times. They're still going to come at you and try to steal your time. And you just got to put them on hold and go, no, wait a minute. I'm not answering that. And then typically that's what I say. I go, is it an emergency? They go, no. I said, I don't want to hear it. Write it down. I do not want to hear it because I'm trying to break them of the habit, because that's what it will take. You'll have to break them of just stopping them from interrupting you whenever they want to. Okay, so that happens. That's one thing that'll happen. Here's the next thing that'll happen. It'll be unbelievable how many solutions they will find on their own. 80% of your problems will be eliminated overnight. Overnight. When you do what I just told you, because they will now take it upon themselves to pay attention to the solution. Now, in the beginning, so that's going to be a main factor. Like when you start this 3 months later, you're going to have very few questions and problems because you're already going to be all these systems are going to be taking place, and they're already going to know what to do. Now, so that's a huge thing that happens. 80% of your problems will go away magically overnight when you do this. And what happens is they'll come up with the solution. Or what will happen, they'll write it down, and then at the staff meeting, they'll get the solution, and then it'll be a system again instead of, oh, let me just come in and interrupt you every time this happens. Well, that's not acceptable. Now, another amazing thing that happens, in the beginning, when you first implement it, there'll be a lot of questions and problems. And what it'll do is it'll tell you as a manager what you're missing, what you did not train on, or what needs to be trained more on that they didn't get, that now there's a crack somewhere. So it will help to identify where the training needs to go. That's another great thing that'll happen in the beginning. But the biggest thing that'll happen is personal responsibility. They will now, after a few weeks of going through this and paying attention to the systems, they will now understand and be empowered to understand what the problem is and have the knowledge and ability to come up with the solution. And I'm telling you, 80% of your problems are going to go away. And then there's the last thing that happens. In the beginning, it sounds a little rough to the staff. But actually, when you start using, and this is so important that you start using their solutions. Because like I said, when they give you solutions, 80% of the time, they're going to give you the right solution because they're dealing with some intricacies that you may not know or be aware of. And so 80%, and here's what happens. It empowers your staff. That's what happens. And there's a lot to be said about staff that's empowered when they know that they can think on their own, they can act on their own, and they're not going to get yelled at, and they're not going to get fired, and they know, the parameters of what they need to do. So if you want to cut out 80% of your problems in 90 days, and it'll happen faster than that, do the legal pad solutions. And I'm telling you, in no time at all, you'll have accountability, solutions, a lot less problems. They won't be stopping you, and they won't be stopping other staff members left and right. And they will be empowered. And you'll also have your systems in place. And you'll know what needs more training and what doesn't. It is unbelievably an effective management tool.